Hello and very good evening and greetings to the people who are joining from different parts of the world. My name is Saurabh Patil. I'm a global keynote speaker, SPR coach, author, a mentor, and consultant, and also a proud member of PSAI, Professional Speakers Association of India. PSAI is an Indian community where we have amazing speakers close to around 180 to 100. It's a community which helps you nurture speakers and also helps speakers to understand the business of speaking, how you can make money through speaking. And today evening, we are going to have an amazing conversation with one of our guests through this episode of PSAI Talk Show with global presence. But before that, let me introduce you what PSAI Talk Show is. PSAI Talk Show Global is a live interactive event designed to raise awareness about a high impact speaking topic while giving you deeper insights about PSAI's vision, values, and the benefits of being part of this amazing speaking fraternity. Ask questions live, learn from the global experts who come in different episodes to talk about their journey, inspiring, and how they became global speakers. Connect with passionate professionals across the world. So let's begin some amazing conversation today with an amazing person who's been into this speaking, who's been into this industry speaking globally. So let me introduce you to our guest today, wonderful person named Marianna Pascal. But before we get her on, let me tell you about who Marianna is. So Marianna is globally recognized as a communication expert. Marianna is one of the most influenced voices in leadership communication today. She ranks among the top 10 most watched TEDx women speakers in the history with more than 27 million views worldwide. Named after the named one of the most world's favorite female speakers in 2019. She's a world championship for public speaking semifinalist and has been shortlisted as best in person speaker storyteller as the prestigious speaker awards in London. Mariana holds the certified speaking professional designation and achievement held by one of the only top 12% globally. She's known to transform leaders with her simplicity, clarity. She has a unique edge in her approach, and she also helps leaders trust her for her approach based on her ideas, her values that she delivers, and the concise strategy. But that's enough about Mariana from me. I would like you to meet her, talk to her, engage with her, because we are going to talk a lot about TEDx today with Mariana and her amazing journey. So keep commenting, keep asking questions, and if you have any ideas about your TEDx, do pop in. Let's see what Mariana has to say about. So, ladies and gentlemen,
we want to expand our world, have a larger life, experience more on this planet while we're here. How are you going to get that idea out to the whole world so that the whole world hears it in the simplest and most pleasurable way? What is success in the real world? It's helping somebody and realizing that they get you, and you asking and realizing that you finally get the thing that they care about, and you connect, you come together. I was an actor for 15 years. I traveled around Canada on stage, and I have discovered this is the one key. We all have some message that's unique to us that we want the world to hear, that we want to share with other people. He doesn't feel judged. He's entirely focused on the person that he's speaking to and the result he wants to get. We will see in this country the wonderful, innovative, brave, excited, creative minds flourish. You know, I'll have some of that Nazai Limak. Leaders wanting their people to speak up, to bring their best selves to work and contribute their best.
what a wonderful show, really. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marianna Pascal.
Hello, Saurabh. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you
Hi,
so much.
Marianna.
Hi there. So nice to see you again.
How are you? And welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. You know, I've said it a million times. I've said it on many continents. My absolute favorite speaker moment was speaking at the convention in India, in Delhi. That whole convention just warmed my heart. The spirit of the Indian speakers is like nothing else on planet Earth. It's just such a beautiful thing. And it's not just me that thinks that.
Always happy to hear you.
What's happened? I think we've just lost the host there. So is it just me? Well, I'm going to keep talking until our host comes back on. So hello, everybody. I don't know where's our host.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
right here. Oh,
okay. There you are.
okay. Sorry for that. Well,
I thought I was going to be doing this all by myself for a minute.
I was just flabbergasted with the show reel, and I think that is what pushed me behind. But I'm back in the show now. But welcome. It's amazing to have you on the show, and we're looking forward to some amazing discussion on TEDx. And congratulations for being the top 10 female speaker. There's a lot I think people can learn from you today in the conversation. So, talking
Thank you.
about TEDx, yeah. So, talking about TEDx, let's start. I'm pretty curious. I mean, there are a lot of speakers who aspiring speakers or speakers who just started establishing their name. They have a lot of aspirations, a lot of hope, and a lot of expectations to become a TEDx speaker. Everybody's striving for it. So, what do you think is that one key factor or one point which every aspiring speaker should understand about TEDx?
Okay, well, first of all, I would have to say that if you want to do a TEDx, you want to make sure that you're not just doing a TEDx that's going to get lost in the shuffle of the other tens of thousands, that you're going to do a really good one that's going to be seen. So don't apply until you're really, really ready. And we'll talk about that on the show. But I think the one thing that speakers often get wrong, because I'm often asked to coach speakers in their TEDx's, and I notice that a lot of them come in either with a purely motivational speech. And that's not what a TED talk is. A TEDx talk is not just motivation. It's really an idea. So we'll come to that in a minute. So that's one of the most important distinctions for speakers to make, because I think as speakers, we're often trying to motivate or inspire an audience, which of course we want to do, but it's not enough. There has to be a really unique idea or a unique way of looking at an existing idea for it to actually be a TEDx. So that's where speakers go wrong. I think they get stuck in, I'm going to just inspire the audience with my motivational story. And it's not that.
So that's so true. I mean, everybody has aspirations to become a TEDx speaker, but how do you think that how do the speakers know that they can have a unique idea, or they can come up with a unique idea? What can they do for that? And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, if you do have a unique idea today, if you think you have an idea for the TEDx, do drop in the comments. We will discuss it. I think Marianne will also have a look, and we'll see if that idea is really unique or what you can do. Yes, over to you, Mariana.
Well, the first thing I would say is don't do it in this order. You don't want to say, I want to do a TEDx. Now, all I need is an idea. What idea can I do? If you're actually like struggling to think of an idea just because you want to do a TEDx, it's probably not the right time. Wait for the right time. And I think one really good clue that you've got a really good idea is when you think about, I know a lot of people here like me have a very strong training background, not necessarily a keynote background, but a training background. Well, think about all the times that you're in front of an audience or in front of your participants, and there's one thing that whenever you say it or reveal it or show it or practice it or whatever, you notice that people really tune in and listen. So consistently, not just once, but consistently, there's probably something that gets people suddenly focused on you. They're like, you can see the wheels turning in their head. You can see their eyes opening. You can see that the thing that you're saying really matters. And when you see that with many audiences or many groups of participants, this same thing that just seems to matter to other people, then that might be your gold mine to start thinking, what is unique about that? What makes people's eyes open up? What makes them feel this is so important? And within there, you might be able to mine out, where is the unique idea in there? And don't think that it has to be actually, a brand new unique idea that's never been thought of on planet Earth before. It doesn't have to be that. It can be a unique way of looking at something that already exists. Maybe you're going to get people to see, oh, isn't that interesting? I haven't looked at it that way, or I haven't seen it through those eyes. So it can be an old idea that you're looking at with a very new and fresh lens. It could be that. It could even be a strategy or an answer, a solution that maybe is not intuitive. It's not the normal way that we do it. It's a different way. So don't go looking like you're not solving, curing cancer. It doesn't have to be that kind of idea, but it does have to be something that makes people go, how about that? Never thought of it like that. Never seen that before. It has to be that kind of quality. You're muted, Saurabh. Do you want to turn off your...
Yeah, so true. I've heard a couple of speakers who have done TEDx tell their aspiring speakers that don't rush into TEDx. Let it come to you. It will come to you. And talking about listening, I want to understand, and I think many of us aspiring speakers who have done TEDx or who wish to do TEDx would like to understand, how do you craft a speech which can hold the audience attention for 10 to 15 minutes? Because like you said, when your idea is working, you can see the people in the audience with their eyes wide open, thinking about what you're saying. So how do you craft a speech which can hold the audience attention for 10 to 15 minutes?
Yes, so that's a loaded question, Sarah, because there's many different angles we can look at that from. So one of them is you grab them immediately in that the first minute. And in a minute, what I can do is I can share with you the beginning of my TEDx. We can kind of dissect how did it become the top 10? I think a big part was that it grabbed people. Should we do that now? Should we start with that?
Yeah, we can play the video.
Okay, hold on. Not so fast. Hold on. Hold your horses. So let's go step by step, because when you talk about how do you hold people's attention, this is the golden question, right? And this is not just for TED Talks. This is for any kind of talk. And the principles are basically the same. But let's start with the intro, first of all. So you've got to make them believe in that very first minute that if they stay for the 10 minutes, something amazing is going to be revealed to them. Now, I had a chat with my TEDx. Sorry, I'm just suddenly forgot the word. My curator, my TEDx curator, a wonderful man named Winston Liu. You can write that in the chat box. If any of you are interested, you can reach out and I'll be happy to connect you with him. He's a brilliant coach. He was my coach. But when we debriefed, what was it about my talk that really made it so successful? He said, I'll spell it. It's not quite. It's Liew, in case you're writing in the chat box. Liew. He's based in Malaysia. There's Malaysians on the call. You'll know him. we debriefed and we sort of noticed that in that first, actually, like I measured this for you today, in the first 52 seconds of the TED Talk, just the first 52 seconds of that talk. And I've numbered these for you. So I'm going to talk you through it and then we'll show you. Okay. So consider this, because you can, audience, you can use this when you're creating a TED Talk or TEDx talk. In that first 52 seconds only, right? There are 6 things that the audience got. Now, the first thing was I established a sense of credibility. And that was by mentioning that I had 20 years of doing the thing that I'm talking about. So that's the first thing, establish credibility. The second thing was that very early on, I tell them that the thing that I do is to help people just like them to succeed. So right away, they're seeing that I'm actually coming to the table with something that they need. Okay. Now, the third thing in this 52 seconds was I said, I've discovered a surprising truth. Now, notice I didn't say, I know something that you don't. I said, I discovered a surprising truth, because that places me in the talk as just like the audience. I'm the person that I discovered it, just like you. I wasn't born with this. I'm not like a lecturer. I've discovered something. And guess what? It's really surprising. So that's kind of like a hook, just those 2 words. But don't everybody start doing, I know the whole audience now is going to be saying, I discovered a surprising truth. Don't all use the same words. Then immediately after that, I break apart a myth. And I break apart a myth about, like, at that time that I did the talk, most of my experience was on helping non-native English speakers to master their workplace communication. So I break this myth that good English speaking is not about ability. Amazing. It's about attitude. Now, this right away, I am attracting, millions of non-native speakers, and I'm telling them a myth that they believe is not true. Because most people believe that oh my God, if my ability is not good, I can't communicate. So I break that at about the 20-second mark. Okay, that's 4 things.
Wow.
Now the fifth thing, hang on, we're not done yet, because I just want to show you, because I think you don't necessarily want all these ingredients, but you do want to give them enough fodder in the beginning to make it worth their while. The 5th thing that I did was I kind of inspired them to stay to the end, because I basically say, I've seen many people get the success that you want, and I have the key. Now that's inspiration, but it's not just inspiration. Then the 6th thing I did was I created a story. This is all in 52 seconds, right? And I told them a story about a person, and the person has a name. It's a real human being. And it was a story about a person just like those, millions of audience members who are using English as a second language. So it's a story about people just like you. Now, all of those 6 things happen right away. And Winston and I, we both kind of believe that that's the promise and the hook and enough to create anticipation for people to say, oh my God, I want to find out how this story ends. Now that's just the first 52 seconds. Why don't we take a look and see if you can identify all of those components?
Sure. That's a lot. Some amazing points there. Let me just ask the team to play the video now. Can we have the video?
So for the past 20 years, I've been helping Malaysians and other Southeast Asians to speak better English. And through training thousands of Southeast Asians, I've discovered a very surprising truth. I've discovered that how well somebody communicates in English actually has very little to do with their English level. It has a lot to do with their attitude towards English. There are people out there who have a very, very low level of English and they can communicate very, very well.
Wait, there's a
Wow.
little bit more. Wait. Sorry. A little bit more. We didn't do the story yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
Do you want to carry on through the story or enough?
Let me just, I think we can carry on.
Yeah, if you can load it right there, just the next little bit. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong closing cue. So you'll see there's a story about a guy named Faisal. So he's got a name. He's a human being with a name. He's a factory. Maybe I'll just tell you what I said. How about that?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so then I go on and say, for example, Faisal was a factory supervisor and his English level was very, very low. And even though he was able to listen and understand people and communicate his ideas with no fear. So I'm painting a little picture, a story of another human being that is exactly like the audience. Now that's 52 seconds. So that's a lot of grabbing the audience in that first part. So I think for holding, that was your original question, Saurabh, right? How to hold people's attention. I think that's the very first thing. That's the first thing. But of course, it's not the only thing.
Wow. So much points to take. In fact, I agree with you that a lot of times people who are not able to communicate in English fear that they might not be able to become a good speaker or might not even be able to do a TEDx. So that probably holds it, even though they have some of the amazing ideas. And this points which you broke down in 7, 8 points and the video that we shared yours is going to inspire a lot of people to talk about their ideas, talk about what they have in mind, despite having, thinking that they don't have enough English. So I think the video is ready. You want us to play that, Marianna? I think we can have a look at it.
Okay, people can watch it later. Okay, but
Sure, no
this
problem.
Is not, don't forget, and a TEDx talk is an idea, right? So my talk was not just inspiration. It wasn't just you can do it, trust yourself, have faith in yourself. That's an inspirational talk. It's not that. The idea was that the English language is just a tool. It's not an art form that you have to master. Now, that's the idea that for most people, I know. That's why I chose that topic, because I noticed that every time I said, look, you learned that language is like this art that you have to master, language arts. It's not an art, okay? It's a tool. And you can play with it just like a hammer to do whatever you can to get the result you need. Now, that's an interesting way of looking at what learning a language is. So that was the idea. That makes sense?
Wow. Yeah. This is new to me. I mean, language is not an art. It's a tool you can play with. I think a lot of people would understand and probably take this home and probably try to play with the language when they speak next time on different stages. And we do have some amazing comments coming out where Dr. Alka says she loves your expression. And Brigadier is saying, oh, thank you, Brigadier Sir. Brigadier is saying Marianna has been the guru, mentor, and first he heard you in APSS 2019. Yes. And the boot camp in Goa.
If you're in India and you want to learn how to do a TEDx, Brigadier Sushil is one of the best TEDx coaches and trainers I know. He's pure heart. He's brilliant. And I know he does workshops helping people talk through their TEDx. Take it. If you're in India, you want somebody to learn from, he is the best. He's the real deal. And he's not going to give you stuff from AI.
Yeah, I second you, Marianna. I totally agree about Brigadier Sir. Thank you so much.
You should put his name in the chat box so people can find him.
Yeah. He's right there. Yeah. So talking about holding attention for 10 to 15 minutes, I see a lot of speakers crafting a different speech for TEDx and then crafting different speeches that can go universal. Is it possible, or how can it be done that you can have the TEDx script which can be universal as well?
Okay, so I think this is where the idea that you are putting across, you need to find a way to make it universal. And when I
Mhm.
say universal, I don't mean that's just going to apply to other similar audience types in other countries. I mean that's universal theme that any human being anywhere in the world of any age can draw meaning from. So let me give you an example, and this is a true example. I had a speaker who came to me, and if I'm not mistaken, the speaker was from Bangladesh, actually. This
Oh,
was a professional speaker who wanted to turn their talk into a TEDx. Now, he was a professional speaker who had been a teacher. Now, this is a while ago, so I'm trying to remember. His talk was around the exam stress that children in Bangladesh faced, right? The pressure to do well on exams, similar to India, right? Extreme pressure to do well on exams. And he really believed in teaching parents to give their children permission to fail.
wow.
Now, this is kind of a unique idea because how many parents, I don't know how many parents are in the audience, but I'd like to know in
Very
the chat,
few.
if you're a parent, would you be comfortable giving your child permission to fail their exams? And I'm going to guess, I can't see, but I'm going to guess probably quite a lot of people would say no to that. But that was what he wanted to put across. That's a pretty unique idea, and it's pretty controversial. But, you know, exams, parents, the Bangladeshi school system, this is very local, right? But when we started talking about permission to fail, this is actually a hugely universal theme that everybody can relate to because we all have areas in our life where we feel we must succeed, whether it's in our work, whether it's our marriage, whether it's on our ability to parent, our ability to take care of our parents, whether it's, uh, living life in other ways, mental health. I mean, the permission to fail is kind of an interesting topic. What if all of us in the areas where we feel it's a non-question, we must succeed. What if we gave ourselves permission to fail? What if I gave my husband permission to fail at the marriage? You know, maybe that's going too far. What if I gave my parents permission to fail in being a good role model? Like, what if that? I mean, I don't know how far I can go with this with an audience, but what if in my work? What if I get promoted and it's not for me? What if I give myself permission to fail and find another path? So we changed this person's talk. Now he ended up using his expertise as a teacher in Bangladesh as a prime example. This was his discovery, right? This is where he discovered the concept of giving permission to fail. So when he created his TED Talk, even though I think it was ended up being titled Permission to Fail, the story that he told that let him discover this universal idea worth spreading, that we should be giving our loved ones and ourselves permission to fail, that discovery came from his experience as a teacher. So notice what happens here. He comes to me with this idea that's very local. We pull it back, we find the universal theme, and then we turn the situation that he was originally talking about into the signature story that reveals how he discovered this amazing idea. Does that make sense? So you
Absolutely.
go wide, you say, what is the universal theme here? And then you keep your local idea, but you keep it in as the example, the discovery, the story. So I'm seeing comments already.
Yeah. There's so many comments. Shalini saying in India we don't let our children fail because of the peer pressure. Everybody's pushing them. Brigadier is saying that he he in fact allowed his son to not go to college, and he didn't. He was he became an Instagram influencer, top podcaster. That's amazing. See, we push our
So you know
children
what
so
I see?
much.
I see
Yeah,
Brigadier writing there. I discouraged my son to go to college. Like, maybe there's a universal theme in
yeah.
discouraging someone from doing what everybody says you should do. You know, maybe so look for those topics like that are start local, spread out.
Right.
Yeah,
Start local, go universal. That's an amazing thing, and that's an
that's
amazing
right.
strategy. In fact, with people would understand.
And bring your
Yeah,
local story in as your story. Let it
absolutely.
be the illustration.
With that, I feel there are so many local stories which can go universal through TEDx, and which can make a mark, which can have millions of views, which can inspire people all around the world.
Well,
Uh,
if somebody wants to write an idea in the chat box, we
yeah,
can look at it and say, how do we make it universal?
please,
Maybe we
yeah, feel
write
feel
it down.
free.
Yeah.
Feel free to give if you have any ideas. Feel free to comment. If we can just discuss on that, if that idea is good, how it can go global with the local ideas. Okay, I
I
think we
see
have a
somebody
first
writing,
idea.
I see somebody
Yeah,
writing "Fuel forward, turning setbacks into strength." Now,
exactly.
Manish, yeah, I would like to say something to Manish. Okay, so for Manish, I would say, okay, and Manish, you may hate me, you may prevent me from ever coming to India, but I want to say be careful with that because I'm not sure that's a unique idea. That's something that is we've heard it before. So I urge you. Here's what I would say to Manik. I would say, take this idea that you have, the fail forward and turning setbacks. Think about your own experience, your own discovery journey that led you to believe that, and look at that experience and see what else is unique. What is different from what people think? Because we all already know that using your setbacks to progress, it's kind of common. So look deeper into that experience that's obviously so meaningful to you and see what else did it teach me that's not so known.
Right. I think Manish has got it.
So many.
Yeah, Manish. I think Manish has got it. I think he probably would work on that. I
Yeah.
think he's not there. Yeah, we do have another idea by Mithil. It's AI enabled humans versus everyone else, combining human skills with AI intelligence.
Yeah. So this one, I don't really, I can't say because I don't understand it in deep, but I think Mittel, what I would do would be see if you can articulate that very simply and clearly as an idea, because right now this is it reads like a topic, right? AI enabled
Mhm.
humans versus everybody else.
Everyone else.
What are you saying about it? So see if you and it's very, very hard to articulate sometimes what is that idea? What actually is it? Yeah. So that everybody can understand instantly.
I think Mithil got it. Can we take one more idea, Mariana? I think we can
So,
take one more.
articulating is articulating it clearly so that everybody around the world will say, "Oh, I understand what that means." So, I hope that's okay to say. So a lot of people confuse a topic with an idea, right? So, a topic is a topic, but topics don't make you go, "Oh, I never thought of that." It has to be articulated more simply. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Mithil and Manish commented that they understood it and they got some good insights on how they can work on it. And yes, Brigadier also commented on it. Yes. We have another. Okay, we'll take the last one by Preeti. It says, "Stop improving, start expanding."
Okay. It's kind of compelling. Stop improving, start expanding. It's interesting. I guess I want to right away. I want to know more. What does that mean? But it's short, sweet, and simple enough that it kind of makes me want to know what you mean by that. So that would be interesting to know a little bit more about that at another time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Preeti, you
Yeah.
can message Mariana later on and then
Yeah.
have a chat with her.
To me, stop improving, start expanding. That's what's happening to me at my age. I think I've stopped improving and I'm just expanding, especially in the lower half of my body.
All right. Shalini says she found your speech very inspiring, your TEDx speech.
Well, thank you so
Yes.
much for that. There's something I'd love to talk on in terms, like you asked me, what is going to make an audience sit through it for 10 or 12 or
Yeah.
15 or 17 minutes. I think they're now probably like 10 minutes long, not 17 anymore. But can I
Yeah.
share a little bit about that? Because that's
Sure,
another
sure.
area that I work with a lot of speakers, and I find that there's a gap that
Mhm.
speakers can really leverage. If I can share a little bit about that. And that is the art of creating anticipation within the talk. So, because a lot of speakers and corporate trainers and teachers, we're all kind of subject matter experts, or some people are thought leaders. I myself don't really consider myself a thought leader, but we tend to want to share what we know. And I would caution you when you're creating your speech, I would caution you against saying, I'm going to share my knowledge. That is the path to boring. So you don't want to just share your knowledge because there's no anticipation. I'm like a student being lectured to. You want to take that knowledge, but you want to drop the seeds and layer in that audience journey so that my mind is wanting to know at any given moment what's the next thing that you're going to say. Now, there's many ways I can do that, right? Like you can do that on the very simplest level. For example, maybe you say in your talk, my husband said, "What do you want for dinner?" And I said, "Broccoli." You change that to, my husband said, "What do you want for dinner?" I thought about it. I turned to my husband. I looked up at him and I smiled. I said, "You know what I want, broccoli." That's a terrible example. Okay, I'm just thinking of, forgive me, it's 10:30 at night here in Singapore.
No
But you
problem.
want to layer in whatever you can so that the audience at every single moment is, you see, this is okay. Forgive me. Please let me say this because I think it's so vital. People think that the quality of your speech or the value for the audience is in what you say. And it's not. The
Oh,
quality of your speech, the value to your audience is in the mental journey or even the emotional journey that that audience takes moment to moment as you're talking. Now, this is a massive difference because when you think like that the quality to the audience is not your words, it's the mental journey that you're taking them through. It
right,
forces you to think in terms of, how do I guide their thinking? How do I make them wonder? How do I make them guess? How do I make them predict? How do I make them want to know the next thing? So I'd say have that attitude. You're not sharing your knowledge. You're guiding their thinking with discovery. Does that make sense? I know that that's a little hard to put this across in a short period of time, but I think it's one of the biggest distinguishers between a kind of a mediocre talk and a really, really engaging, compelling one.
No, it's great. It actually makes sense. In fact, you have just broken a myth where people think that the value that they're giving to the audience or what the audience feels is not through the speech, but the journey that they can take them to. And it's really an important insight for those who are aspiring to become TEDx speakers. In fact, on that note, I would like to ask you another question where I've seen a lot of TEDx talks which are more about the emotional journey, the mental journey of the speakers, but there are a lot of TEDx talks which talk a lot about data as well. So when some speaker brings data, how as a speaker do you bring that data to life? Because then it might again become a boring speech with too much data.
Yeah, and it's a big problem now, I tell you. So speakers, a lot of speakers come to me, and they just go to AI and they ask AI, give me statistics to support this, and they can easily come with 5,000 statistics. So data is kind of worthless unless it's hugely compelling. So that means you don't want a lot of data, but the data that you give has to be astounding. And then I suggest you do what I call a data sandwich, a data sandwich. So you go, emotion, data, emotion. You put the data between the emotion or the story. I'll give you an example, okay? And this is something that I just read yesterday, and I was talking about this to somebody else who I was coaching. We were talking about Gaza Strip, and there was a recent statistic that was quite alarming, and that was that of all of the promised support to Gaza, only 1% of it has actually been delivered to them. Now that is a surprising statistic, but it's much more rich in a talk if you set it up by saying something like, imagine, after the war, living living where everywhere you look, all you see is gray rubble. And you hear that the whole world has come together with a fund that's going to rebuild your country better than ever. Well, guess what? Only 1% of that promise has been filled. What would it feel like if you expected that help and you're waiting every day and it does not come? So somehow in there, it's not about the data. It's the data in the context of, expectation in this case, and the fallout. So whatever that is, data sandwich, I think that's a good way to think. Anytime you have a piece of data, nestle it, set it up so that when the data comes, it's unbelievable. And then one more thing about presenting data, okay? Another thing. So whenever you're presenting a number, like if you're presenting a specific number like the 1%, let's take that one for an example. A lot of speakers bury that number in the middle of a sentence so that the number never really lands. So you want to strategically make your sentence framed so that there's anticipation created, and then bam. So let me give you an example. I could say, of all of the promised help, only 1% of that promised help has been delivered on time based on world leaders' promises. Now that 1% just got buried. It had no oomph, right? Or I could flip the sentence around. I could say, there was $7 billion promised to Gaza to rebuild the country after the war. How much of that has been actually received? 1%. You know, you can layer in the anticipation, you can use rhetorical questions, you can pause, because your audience is anticipating. That's a journey. That's a journey you're taking them on right in that sentence alone, right? So yeah, that's all I want to say. I'm not going to repeat.
No, that's really insightful. In fact, there's something new we learned today. It's the data sandwich: emotions, data, and then emotions. Because a lot of times the data lands really flat, and the audience also starts losing their attention. But this is really good. I think the audience are really loving what you've just said, because everybody's appreciating, and I think we can use it in our speeches as well.
Yeah, any
Fantastic.
speech. So don't
Yeah.
bury that data in the middle of a sentence. Like, create the suspense, you know, get them wondering. See, this is what I create, that anticipation. What percentage was received? Get them sort of thinking, I wonder. Then you can pause for like a long time, and they're looking at your face and they're thinking, is it going to be high? Is it going to be low? And, you know, and then you can bring your voice right down. And when you get to 1%, and then you can hold that, they're so surprised by then, because they're invested in it. You see, a lot of speakers, they talk and they have so much to say. There's no room for the audience, for the audience's mind to be wondering and predicting and guessing and thinking and applying.
Wow. I think this is a practical TEDx session here that we had today. With so many insights, busting of some myths. I think we have actually had a master class on how to become a TEDx speaker, or what we should be doing as a TEDx speaker. Yeah, wonderful, Marianna.
Well,
Before we
you might ask someone else and they'll tell you a whole bunch of different stuff.
So definitely, we'll definitely continue this conversation again in some other episodes. I would love to have you again. In fact, before we start taking the audience questions now, let's do a quick rapid fire round with you. Are you ready for that?
A rapid fire, yes. You're going to ask me some really scary questions, and I'm going to have to think on this, right?
Yeah, and it has to be quick and short.
Okay. All right.
All right. All right. So we start with this. What's your favorite podcast this year?
Diary of a CEO.
Oh, even I love that. All the episodes. Fantastic.
Yeah. Sometimes they're too long.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little too long. Yeah. But I like that he takes out the most important 20 minutes. You know, he offers you the full version or the
clips, the short clips. Yeah. That's brilliant. They're very insightful. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a World Cup fan, football fan?
Oh, wait, I'd like to add one more podcast, please. And I think this is really a great podcast for speakers to start to listen to, because it's just pure human storytelling and it's really interesting. If you have BBC World Service on your phone, I'll show you what it looks like, because I listen to it all the time. Just a second, let me find it. BBC World Service. It's this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now they have a podcast they do every Monday night. They come up with a new story, and it's called Lives Less Ordinary. Lives Less Ordinary. And every single Monday, it's a new human story. It used to be called Outlook. So you can find it on Spotify under the name Outlook, but it's just human stories, and it's all, you'll learn about storytelling because the interviewer knows how to capture those moments, those exciting discoveries and moments, and you notice the way people engage the audience. It's a great way to get really good at storytelling. So that's my other. This is the rapid fire, right? That was not rapid.
No problem. I understand. But that was a lot of, but that was really good. I mean, for everyone who's watching, do go and watch this Outlook on Spotify, where you'll find different human stories in it. And it's going to be really, really interesting. Yes. Now let's get back to the Spotify. Sorry, the rapid fire round. Okay. So, Marianna, I wanted to ask you: are you a football fan?
Well, I only became a football fan this World Cup. In fact, I just found out what a hat trick was like last night. So
Wow,
I'm new at it. Yeah.
lovely. So, who do you support, or who were you rooted for in the World Cup?
Okay. I have to say, honestly, I just had a month holiday in England. So
Oh,
we
okay.
watched the games in the pub, and it was so exciting to be in the pub watching. So I had to be on England's side, or they would have beat me up in the washroom.
Oh, yeah, I can understand. I can feel the energy with the in the pubs. Yeah, amazing.
You know those English fans, right? They can be a bit
Yes.
brutal. So I'm an English fan. But I
Lovely.
always want the underdog to win no matter what. I don't care who it is. I just like it when the underdog comes out on top.
True, true, true. So yeah, one ambition for 2027 that you set.
Climb Nepal. With my husband,
Uh,
I want to go to Nepal and I want to climb mountain.
oh, the Everest?
No, no, I don't know. I have
Okay.
to go and measure and see what I'm capable of.
Okay.
I'm getting old. I don't think, no, not Everest.
No problem, but all the best to you for that. Okay, we got just one or two rapid fire questions before we take one or two audience questions. Okay, I wanted to ask you in one word, what value should the audience be looking in any TEDx talk?
Actionability.
Actionability.
Can I take this and use it?
Right. That's a single word, but that's a very strong word. How you can take something from the TEDx and how you can put it to action in your life. I think that's what you meant, right?
Yes. Actionability.
Brilliant.
Is that even a word?
We just came up with it. That's a new word
Action.
now.
I think it's a word. Actionability. Could somebody like Google that and tell me if it's a
Yeah.
word? Actionability. But like I said, language is a tool to use as long as everybody understands it. It's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it was wonderful to have a conversation with you. And I say it again, we had a practical masterclass on TEDx thanks to you, your insight and your experience. And we are open to one or two questions from the audiences. If you have, do write it in the comments so we can answer and Mariana can answer it.
Okay. While they're
Any
putting that in, I want to tell you what a
Yeah.
pleasure it is always with India, and I look forward to speaking at your next convention. I hope would love to.
Yes.
Does the location to do a TEDx matter? Any place will do. I don't know. I don't know. I did mine in Penang, Malaysia. It was in a small theater. It wasn't a huge theater. One thing I think is, do they have good professional cameras and lighting? I don't think the venue matters as much as the crew. Are they going to, some of them you look and you see the quality just doesn't look very good. And at the end of the day, if I'm watching for 15 minutes, I want to be able to see you clearly. I want some close-ups. I want variety. So I would look not so much at the venue, but at the crew and the facilities and the tech. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's important how the crew, the tech that's actually there.
Yeah. Is there one camera or do they have another? Will they have close-ups? Will they have, that I think that matters actually.
Right. But most of it, I think they have a single camera where you focus on you, and then you have the circle where you just stand there and speak without moving.
Well, some have a lot more close-ups than others. Some are a lot of long shots. Some have, I think
Okay.
they all have different talent in their crews. Yeah.
Right. All right. If we don't have any more questions, we would like to wrap this up. Mariana, it was a pleasure to host you. And I know you were a bit overwhelmed. You had a wonderful holiday, but still we had to get you here. But thank you for taking the time out. Thank you for giving so many insights. I can see the comments. People have literally loved the conversation, the insights, and the practical TEDx masterclass that we had. Thank you
Thank
so
you. And
much.
I love you in India so much. You have no idea how much I've said this to people all over the world. You know, you are the future. And you see, I'm almost like teary eyed because you are the spirit of what it means to be human today, your culture. And I love you all so much. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
Thank you so much, Marianna. Thank you everyone for some wonderful comments and thank you for the questions. Have a great
Thank you so
evening
much,
ahead.
everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.